Predicting outputs of a program. In this lesson, you're going to learn what inputs and outputs are on a computer and how to predict the outputs of a program. You will need pen and paper for this lesson. In this lesson, you will define what inputs and outputs are and predict the output of a given program. So we're now going to define what inputs and outputs are. Starting with inputs, now these are commands that you enter from a keyboard, mouse or buttons, etc. On the microbit, this might look like on button A pressed, it might be on shake, it might even be on pin PO pressed. And outputs, on the other hand, are what the computer will display out to the screen or the LEDs. Again, on the microbit, this might look like a picture being displayed on the LEDs. I want you to now consider the following piece of code on the microbit, and what we're going to do is we're going to look for the inputs and the outputs from this piece of code. So first of all, there's the piece of code. On button A press, show string hello, pause 100, show string how are you all doing today. Now we're going to have a look how this is actually going to look on the microbit. So we press button A, and what happens? Hello. So that's first of all, our input was the pressing of the button A. We've had hello get displayed, and then as you can see straight away afterwards, after a small pause, we had how are you all doing today. So you can see from that just one input produced two outputs. Now note the pause. Now even though you can't, it isn't classed as a pause, isn't classed as an output, what it does do is break up what is being displayed on the screen. It's not classed as an output because nothing gets displayed, but what it does is breaks up the two sentences that are being displayed so that they can be read as two separate sentences. We're now going to look at predicting the outputs of a given program. Now the tasks are all listed below, and you need to start these tasks from the developing level and work your way up to mastered. Starting with developing, this is going to be done on paper. So you need to write down and predict what you think the piece of code that you've been given will do. You need to follow that then with copying it onto the Make Code editor, which you will find a link to on Class Charts. And once you've copied it, you need to run it on the emulator. When you run it, you need to then write down whether your predictions were correct. For secure level, continuing with the code on the previous level, I want you to explain exactly how the code is working. And I want you to make sure you use the words input and output in your answer. You then need to follow that up with completing the table which shows those inputs and outputs that you've just stated. To complete the secure level, you need to go back to the Make Code editor, and this time I'd like you to change the code. And I change the code so that instead of doing what it does at the moment, it changes so it counts up from 1 to 5. Moving on to mastered level. You now need to create code for the microbit that will have the following inputs and outputs. I'm not giving you code this time. You're going to create a piece of code which will do the task and will produce the following inputs and outputs, which you can see in the table. So the input is shake and the output is stop shaking me, followed by thanks, followed by an input of A and B with a happy face. That code needs to be created on Make Code. When you have completed all of the tasks, you need to first of all make sure you take a picture and upload any written work you had from developing in the secure level. And then you need to take a screenshot or picture of both pieces of code from secure and mastered and upload those. All of that needs to be uploaded to complete this task. Pause your video now to go and complete this work. The last task that needs completing is the exit quiz. You will find a link to the exit quiz on class charts. When you have finished, you need to take a picture or screenshot of your score and upload that to class charts. So to complete the lesson, everything that needs uploading will be the written work you've done from paper from your developing and mastered task, a screenshot or picture of both pieces of code on the microbit MakeCode editor, and finally the score of your exit quiz. All must be uploaded for you to complete this lesson.